This is Peter Godinez, your community ambassador, and I am here at Santa Paula Unified School District, and I have the lovely privilege of being able to interview Superintendent Ed Cora, and we are in his office right now. So Ed, thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. It's lunchtime, so I know you're starving, but hey, we're good to go.
Good. Thanks, Peter.
But we're here in your office, and I love to talk about just how you have your office actually designed, the feng shui.
Mm-hmm.
So are there anything special here that you find that's motivating, that you get a chance to look on a daily basis?
Not so much motivating, but the table that we're sitting at seats comfortably 6 people, and our cabinet comes in every Wednesday, and we have our cabinet meetings, and it's our place of doing business. It's where the brainstorming happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
And over to my left here, we have, again, motivational pictures you have here. Plants.
Ocean.
Keep on talking.
Ocean, beach. There's a little bit of golf over on the other side. Love the ocean, love golf. I'm not very good at golf, but I thoroughly enjoy playing. It's all about going with the right people.
So, Ed, I guess the first question I want to ask is, what makes Santa Paula Unified so special and so unique from other districts here in our community?
Okay. Well, I'll start by saying this is my 8th month here. So in the 8 months that I've been here, Peter, I immediately start right away with the people. And when I say the people, from the little people, from our transitional kindergarten students, all the way up to our adults. Whether they're community members or staff members, it's the people. We got beautiful people here. I say beautiful, just the personalities, the warmth. I have several stories when I first got here. I was hired in March of 2018, and when I came on board to introduce myself, there were people that just made me feel welcome. They made me feel as though I was a Santa Paulan all my life. And just that warmth hasn't changed. I always talk about the honeymoon period has gone by. I still feel a lot of warmth from, and not only staff members, and not only parents, but people in the community. So it's just a wonderful small town community that I thoroughly enjoy.
No, that's a
and
good
awesome
thing.
students.
So Ed, I think it's an appropriate question just to ask, what are some of your goals and some of your visions for the Santa Paula Unified School District?
Sure. I'll start with the board and I worked together, and the board created 4 goals for our district. This was back in the summertime when I first came on board. Goal 1 is to provide a safe and positive environment for our students. Learning cannot truly happen unless students feel safe and there's a positive environment. That's the first one. Second one is continual academic growth for our students in all areas, but in particular math and language arts. Third one is prioritizing facilities projects. We have bond money that we still have, and just getting our schools upgraded and just making them look and providing the facilities that our students need. And then the fourth one is to provide parents more engagement opportunities and parent education opportunities. As far as the vision goes, there's also, we have 2 pieces of property out at Harvest Limonera, East Area 1. One is for a new school site that we're in negotiations with. The second piece of property is kind of set up for a high school / higher education type of a facility. So we'll be working with local key stakeholders real soon to start talking about what is something that we can put out there that our high school students can use and roll right into higher education, whether it's a local community college, a local 4-year college that brings a satellite program. Maybe it's a company bringing a program where students can learn a trade and then get right into working with them. I'll give the example of, I know Toyota sometimes has done that in certain places. They'll build a facility, train the mechanics, and then they go off and start working for them. So that's kind of a vision out there of doing something pretty cool. But otherwise, 4 goals, and that's one of the visions. Otherwise, provide the students the best opportunity, educational opportunity we can.
So Ed, what support do you need as a superintendent from the community, from businesses, and within that community, parents? So what are your hopes in terms of your relationship with those 3 entities I just mentioned?
When I think about parents, let's start with parents first.
Okay.
They're the #1 educators. Sometimes parents will say, the teacher's most important, the parent's most important because they teach them at home. But when I talk about support, when I talk about, parents can support us in many different ways. Provide students at home the opportunity to give their child a place to do their homework, a quiet place, read to them when they're younger, ask them how things are going. I know a lot of times when students get to middle school or high school, students will sometimes say, "Oh, I don't have anything to do," or I did my homework already. We have a lot of abilities for parents to go online and check. Are there homework assignments? How are your grades doing? How's your attendance? So there's a lot of different ways they can support us that way, but following through at home and coming to parent conferences, just following up with what's going on at the school. It's a triangle: student, parent, and the school. When I think about businesses, they can always make donations. They can always provide us with ideas on how we can work together to provide opportunities for our students. There's always ways, and I found this community to be a very caring, giving, supporting community. One example is the Girls and Boys Club. They had their dinner, it's probably about 3 weeks ago or maybe a month ago or so. And there were many, many businesses there that donated to the Girls and Boys Club. Our students also go to the Girls and Boys Club, so that's another way of supporting. It's about giving back and providing students an opportunity to be successful in many different ways.
Ed, such a sports kind of guy, and I look at these superintendents. You're like coaches. Like you call timeout, and you basically say, "You know what? I got something to say." So you actually have a staff here. I was wondering if you could just elaborate on the significance of your relationship to the staff members.
So a couple different things. One, it's nothing about me. It's about everyone working together and taking our district, working towards those goals that I mentioned earlier. I'm going to start with, I truly believe the most important work that happens is inside the classroom. That's what we're here for, teaching and learning. So my hat goes off to all the teachers that work extremely hard, get to work early, work during the day. Sometimes those elementary teachers just work throughout the whole day, and they go from one subject to the other subject. When you get to middle school, high school, they've got all these different number of students because each period is a different group. So everybody works extremely hard. Our classified staff, the work inside the classroom cannot happen unless the classified staff does their work. So my hat goes off to the classified staff. With security, with cleaning the classrooms, with greeting parents at the front office, serving the food, it goes on and on and on. Here at the district office, answering the phone, greeting parents. So classified staff is extremely important. And then the third group are the administrators, who work extremely hard. I've always said one of the toughest jobs I ever had was being a principal. You, from the time you step foot on that campus, you are running. You better have your running shoes, and you better run fast. And until that last person leaves, and when you leave for the end of the day, you are exhausted. You go home, do what you ever need to do, come back the next day, and you're right back at it again. So my hat goes off to them. And lastly, my cabinet. I've got 2 assistant superintendents, 2 executive directors, and 3 executive directors is what I have. So 2 assistant supes and 3 executive directors. And they're the ones that, like I mentioned about this table earlier in the interview, we come together once a week, and this is where the brainstorming happens. And I will make decisions on my own if I need to, but typically most decisions are a team decision. I bounce things off the cabinet, and they give me their feedback. That's them. Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Give me your honest opinion, even if you're the only one saying that. It gives us all an opportunity to say, okay, why is that person saying something a little different? And we talk about it and may change our decision. But as a group, the cabinet's extremely important. So certificated, classified, middle management, site administrators in my cabinet, they're all extremely important. I'm just a figurehead.
Ed, let's have some fun.
Sure.
You know, just with again, I mentioned some athletic examples, but you're the coach of this unified school district, and you have a team. Okay, all of a sudden you go, hey, time out. You have a minute to basically motivate, to change the course of your staff or your team. What do you tell them? Psh, time goes.
I'm going to think of the example yesterday at my leadership team meeting. And at leadership team meeting, I have all my directors, my assistant superintendents, my executive directors. And when we met yesterday to close that meeting, I thanked them for all their hard work. I reminded us all to kind of stay in our lanes. We all have jobs to do, but yet while we stay in our lanes, still communicate with one another and keep doing the work that you're doing, which ultimately always focuses back on students, what is best for students. And if we stay focused on what's best for students, we'll keep making progress in the right direction. Is the timeout over?
Time's out. Back on the
right.
court. So Ed, this is one of my favorite questions, and I know the audience would love to hear it. But who actually inspires you in your life and for this position?
It's a great question, Peter. I don't have to think much about it because I've said it many times. I'm going to start with my parents, my mom, who's still alive back in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. She gave me, I believe, the warmth that I have, the caringness that I have for other people. My father, interesting enough, has influenced me in more ways than I knew, and I didn't realize until after he passed, about 4 or 5 years ago. And I started thinking about who am I and what do I do? And he influenced me in a lot of ways. Hardworking, the people skills, live every day to its fullest, live every day like it's your last day because you never know it might be. And so I got those things from him. And probably most importantly, my wife of 30 years, Denise, she's incredible. She's the rock of our family. We have no family out here in California. She's from Pennsylvania. I'm originally from New York and then moved to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Opposite end. She's from the Pittsburgh area. I'm right closer to Philadelphia. And but we met out here in California. And she's incredible. We celebrated our 30th year this past July, and she's really helped shape me into a lot of what I am today. So my mom, my dad, and my wife.
Ed, just in my experience in working with students, where do you connect with some of the students as you see the preschoolers, the kindergartens, the elementary, the middle school, the high school? It's like, what would be the message and connection that you would make for them based on your experience and maybe an example of something you're doing now?
Okay, that's great. I've been sharing with the parents and the staff. As a matter of fact, when I had the welcome back for staff back in August when they all came back, I shared a story called The Bronx Tale about this young boy who grew up in the South Bronx in poverty, second language learner, and just the things that were happening for that little boy in the Bronx, gang violence, drugs, alcohol, just a lot of stuff that little boy never should have seen. And as that boy grew up, the father moved them out of the South Bronx and into a place in Pennsylvania, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where there was more sports available to kids. And so the young boy got involved in that. But the guidance, the support, and the love that the parents, teachers, and coaches provided for that young boy kept guiding that student, for that young boy, away from what he learned when he was so young. Guided that young boy into college, from college, came out to California, met somebody, and eventually got a teaching job. As a matter of fact, started a teaching job in Pennsylvania and then landed a job out here, and eventually got into administration and eventually superintendent. And that story is really about me. And I shared that with staff, and I also do it with parents when I have coffee with the superintendent meetings. I share that story because it doesn't matter who you are, where you're from, how much money you make or don't make, where you live or don't live, what your nationality is. None of that stuff matters as long as you have the love, the support, and the guidance from the people around you, and not only parents, but teachers and coaches and administrators. And again, I share that because if I made it coming from the South Bronx with my story, any student in Santa Paula, any student anywhere can be successful. And as I look at the students I work with, sometimes I see myself in them. And if I made it, so can they. And again, guidance, support, and love, and any one of these students can be successful. Who knows? Maybe a student from Santa Paula will be superintendent here one day.
Ed, that was an absolutely phenomenal story, the way you articulated. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Your story is going to have sequel, but thank you so much for your time and all the efforts you do. So with that, hey, you know what? I'm excited. You should be too. So until next time.